All right, guys, we're back. We're doing another podcast here. So I may actually be in Australia as this is airing, so this is pre-recorded. I'll just tell you right now. But before we get into the show, I want you to understand what we are actually here to do, why we actually do this show, and why we put so much time into this show. My goal as a coach is to help impact as many athletes as I can possibly impact. So that is obviously through my coaching business, Coach Dusseault Conditioning, although we are rebranding pretty soon, so stay tuned for that. But also through this podcast. And honestly, it's become one of my favorite things to do during the day because I get to speak directly to athletes around the world and dig into problems that I hear from athletes around the world every single day. And it is just a super fun thing to do. So what I want you to do, if you are a young athlete making your way in the world of high performance sport, make sure that you go subscribe to the show, subscribe to the YouTube channel, subscribe everywhere that you can subscribe, follow everywhere you can follow, because I promise it will be worth your time. And if you know of any young athletes coming up in the world of high performance sport, make sure to share the show with them. Spread the love. Make sure that they're hearing this message that I know and you know they're going to need. So today we're talking about how you need to make the change in the morning. So we're going to be talking a little bit about morning routines, about what they can do for you and why they are so important. And I'm going to be shedding a little bit of light on my own and what that does for me. So let's get into the show now. In 3, 2, 1. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Elite Development Podcast, the #1 show for athletes looking to gain an edge on their opponents and build their dream careers in sport. I'm your host, Kenny Dusseault, and today we are talking about making the change in the morning. Now, why are we talking about this? Why are we talking about morning routines? Now, the main reason I wanted to bring this one to you guys, and the reason I wanted to get into morning routines is because of what mine has done for me, honestly. But it's also because one thing that I see a lot of athletes struggle with is mindset. You know, they put the work in physically, they're improving their skills, they're improving their strength, their power, all of that good stuff that they need to improve, but they're lacking mentally. Now, when I say they're lacking mentally, that sounds pretty harsh off the bat, but when I say they're lacking mentally, what I really mean is they're lacking in a few different ways. One way that I see mindset issues pop up is self-talk. You know, I've worked with a number of athletes over the years, and I've spoken to a number of athletes that are very, very high level, but speak to themselves like they're fucking losers. They make a mistake on a drill, and, oh, fucking idiot, and start talking shit to themselves. And I also can relate to this from personal experience because that's something that I still do. I'm getting better at catching myself and stopping it now. But when you speak to yourself like this, a lot of athletes feel like you're just holding yourself to a high standard. But what you're doing is you're reinforcing to yourself that you're an idiot and you're not worth anything. And so that's one area that I really see mindset getting away. And another area, guys, is consistency. And it sounds crazy to keep saying because it is the most basic piece of advice that I can possibly give. And it's that if you want to be successful as an athlete, you need to be consistent in your training. And I see athletes all the time that understand this. They tell me, yeah, I know I got to be consistent. But then instead of training, they're off, doing whatever on the weekend, or they take a month off because, I don't have anything booked right now anyway, so just going to take a while off. Or, I can't put the time in right now because I'm busy with this or I'm busy with that or money's tight or whatever reason that they come up with. There's always a reason not to be consistent. But if you truly want to make it to the top level, you have to be. None of those reasons can apply. None of those reasons can knock you off track because if you want to make it to the top level, this is what you have to do. You have to do it every day. You have to be consistent. You can't give your opponents or your future opponents the opportunity to step in front of you. So that's what we really want to talk about today. And the last one that I really find get in the way for a lot of athletes is a lack of vision. They know they want to compete. They know they want to be at a high level, but they don't really understand what their ultimate goals are. They don't really understand, truthfully what it is they're training for. And as a result, it's easy to say, oh, I'm just too busy right now, so I won't do it. Because if you don't have a clear vision, then taking a month away doesn't matter to you. But if you're kind of just looking and saying, oh yeah, it'd be cool to, fight in the UFC. It'd be cool to, play in the NHL. It'd be cool to make something of myself. Then yeah, when any excuse at all comes up, you're going to jump on it because, well, it's a lot easier than working towards a dream of fighting in the UFC, not working towards a dream of fighting in the UFC. And so all of these play a really big factor. The negative self-talk reinforces with you that you're not worthy of that dream that you set out for yourself. And your lack of vision and lack of true understanding of exactly what that dream is plays into you not being consistent with your training, and you not being consistent with your training plays into you making more mistakes, screwing more things up, which plays into the negative self-talk. Now, like I said, I'm speaking about this from experience. This is something that I still struggle with to this day, although I am getting a lot better now at catching it and stopping it. But what really changed for me and what really allowed me to start noticing those negative habits that I had with myself and actually changing them was my morning routine. Now, I know a lot of you guys hear morning routine and you think, oh, hokey, fucking set yourself up for success for the day. But let me explain what it actually does. So first, I'm going to talk you through my routine. And then I'm going to talk you through what changes it's actually helped me make in my life. And in turn, what changes it can help you make too. So every single morning, I wake up at 4:30 in the morning. And the first half hour is relax. I'm drinking a full bottle of water, or half a bottle of water usually. I'm having my first cup of coffee, which I was watching something today that said apparently you shouldn't have caffeine for 90 minutes after you wake up. So I'm going to try to change that up. Then I have a 15-minute meditation video that I follow. And you can follow, it all depends on where it is you struggle. For me, I struggle a lot with a scarcity mindset, and I'm working through it. I'm getting a lot better with it. So I follow a meditation that is about wealth and abundance. Now, basically, this isn't saying that, I'm just going to sit here and meditate and then piles and piles of money are going to fall into my pocket. But the focus of that meditation is every day reinforcing with myself that I'm abundant and, money is going to come and my life is going to continue to improve. I'm going to continue to move forward towards the goals that I have, both as a coach, the financial goals that I have, the relationship goals that I have, everything. And so following that every morning, and then every morning after that, I watch a Motiversity speech. I just pick a 5-minute speech from Motiversity, a motivational speaking company on YouTube. And I watch one of those. And then after that, I review my company vision, which I have over my desk. If you're watching the video, which is it's about right over there. If you're listening back to this, then that was pretty useless for you. But I review my whole company vision and I read through out loud everything that I'm focused on achieving with my company. After I do that, then I get into my why, which I have written out on a Word document on my computer. And I read over exactly why I do what I do. And the reason that I read that over is because there are days where it's hard. There are days where I wake up at 4:30 in the morning and the last thing in the world I want to do is get up and go to work, get up and start my day. So on those days, having that morning routine of reinforcing my goals for myself, my goals for my company, and my why behind what I do is just a super helpful way to get myself up, get myself going, and get my day started on those tougher days. After I go through my why, I sit down with a notebook that I have sitting on my desk right over there, and I write down 3 intentions for the day. And now the 3 intentions for the day sometimes are as simple as I'm going to deliver the best version of myself to everything I do today. Other times it's focused around specific activities that I have in that day. I want to really over-deliver my team meeting with my coaches. Other times it's, about the coaching that I'm doing in the gym, working with certain clients online. But my intention is I write down 3 things that I am going to intentionally work towards that day. Now, once I write down the 3 intentions, then the next step is 3 affirmations. And the affirmations are things about myself. So These can be focused around goals. So one of them lately is that I want to own a house in 2024. So one of the affirmations is I will own a house in 2024. And reinforcing with myself that is going to become my reality, because that was something that I didn't believe for a long time about myself. And actually, funny little story, I bought my car, a 2017 Audi A4 S-Line, in September. And that was an affirmation for me for about 3 months before that, is I will own an Audi by the time I'm 30. And I went to test drive one fully without the intention of actually buying it. I'd been writing it in my notebook every day for the last 3 months. I went to test drive it just because I saw an ad for it. And as I was test driving it, I remember stopping in the middle of my 15-minute test drive or whatever, pulling over to the side and saying, I'm taking this car home today. Because I've been reaffirming with myself for 3 months now that I was going to own it by the time I was 30 anyway. I wasn't 30 for another 4 months at the time. But I sat there and I was like, I'm going to be back here within the next 4 months to buy this car. Why would I not just buy it now? And so I took that car home that day. And yeah, these affirmations work. Now, yes, could I have gone and test driven that car even if I hadn't been doing affirmations? Yes. Would I have been thinking about it the same way and thought, I'm going to be back here within the next 4 months to buy it anyway, so I'm going to just buy it now? Probably not, because I hadn't been thinking about it and I hadn't been working towards it. But simply by putting it down in that notebook every day, I had it so certain in my mind that I was going to own that car, that when it came time, there was no other option. It almost felt like it would have been wrong for me to leave that test drive and not buy it. So if you have something that you want right now, even if it's something like fighting in the UFC, something, a goal for your career, I will be in the UFC by 2025. Obviously not me, as I'm coaching, not fighting. But if you're an up-and-coming fighter, pick that time, pick that date, and say, I am going to be here by this time, and have that as part of those affirmations in the morning. Now, the last part of my morning routine, getting back on track, the last part of this section of the morning routine, getting back on track, is gratitudes. Write down 3 things every morning that I'm grateful for. Sometimes these are, in relation to the life that I'm building for myself right now. Sometimes these are in relation to, the support system I have in my life right now. Sometimes these are as simple as I'm grateful to wake up in the morning with a roof over my head in a warm, comfortable bed. And just reinforcing that even if things don't go well today, life could be a hell of a lot fucking worse. And the reason that I do all of these things, basically, once I've set the intentions, write down the affirmations, write down the gratitudes, the next step for my day is getting into work. So I won't talk into too much detail about that. There's certain things that I do in the morning to make myself ready. But the main point I wanted to get into was the stuff I do before work, all of this stuff that we just named. Now, the reason these have been so helpful for me is because every single morning I start my day priming my mind for the day. I start with meditation, reinforcing with myself that you don't have to think scarce thoughts about, the world's resources being limited and a potential client saying no, meaning that your whole business is going to fall apart, and whatever else that my crazy brain comes to me with. You don't have to think those thoughts. So athletes, if you're listening to this, that meditation can be around, plain and simple, success in your career. And if you find a good meditation video that you like, you can just reaffirm in your mind every morning with that meditation that you are going to achieve the level of success that you want. Then that motivational video, that's more of a personal thing. I just enjoy that. One of my personal mentors is actually a speaker for Motiversity now. So watching his videos is always super cool. His name's Cole Dusseault, if you want to go check him out on there. And then after the motivational video, when I sit down and I review my company vision, basically what this is reinforcing with me, guys, is exactly what I'm working towards today. So when I wake up in the morning, I'm reinforcing exactly what I'm working towards accomplishing. I'm reinforcing exactly what I want 3 years from now to look like. And so for you guys as well, that vision can be your athletic career. It's 2025, and I've just had my first fight in the UFC. I won by first round knockout, and I won performance of the night bonus. And then just lay out what your life looks like. I am no longer working at my day job. I've trained and fight full time. I've got, I'm starting a family, whatever it is that you want to be accomplishing within the next 3 years, have it on that vision. And then every single morning, reinforce in your mind what you're working towards and what 3 years from now is going to look like. And the reason this is so important is, again, on those days where you don't want to train, on those days where your work day is over and you're going, oh my God, I got to go to the gym for 2 hours tonight. If that vision is fresh in your mind, yeah, but you're doing this because you're going to have your first fight in the UFC in the next couple of years, and you want to make sure you win, and you want to set your family up for success. Now it's easy to work through that fatigue and go to the gym anyway. But if you're just training for the sake of training, working for the sake of working, and then waking up and going, oh my God, I got to go to the gym today, it's very easy to turn around and say, you know what, I'm just going to take it off today and I'll hit the gym again tomorrow. But the more and more and more you do that, the less you are going to actually see success in your career. Now, the next piece, after I review the vision, I review my why. Because again, waking up at 4:30 in the morning is fucking hard. And if I'm reviewing why I do this every day, it makes it easy. Even on days where I get 3 or 4 hours of sleep, I will still wake up at 4:30 in the morning, because that is the commitment I've made to myself, and that is when I start my day. And so for you guys as well, if you have a strong why behind what you want to accomplish, it makes training while you're exhausted easier. It makes meal prepping when it's late at night and all you want to do is go to sleep right now easier. It makes these things you have to do that are difficult easier. And why is it important to make those things easier? Because those are the things that compound over time. Now, once I've reviewed the why and I'm setting my intentions, I'm getting into my gratitudes and my affirmations, these are massively important as well, because now the last thing I do before I really start my day is I figure out exactly what I want to do within that day, the intentions that I have for that day, who I'm going to be today. I set out 3 things that I am affirming about myself in the future, goals that I have. So for athletes, I will be in the UFC by 2026. I will hit all my training sessions with, intention, excitement, passion, and enthusiasm, whatever those affirmations are going to be for you. And by reaffirming that in your mind every day, you are walking around during your day already a UFC fighter. You're walking around during your day already where you want to be 5 years from now, simply because you're affirming it in your mind. You're no longer having those thoughts of, am I going to make it or am I not going to make it? Because every single day you are confirming to yourself, I am going to make it. And then the gratitudes are just that way of starting my day, guys, by basically saying, regardless of what happens today, life is still fucking good. I still have a roof over my head, still have food on the plate. I still have a hilarious fat cat that lives in my home. I still have a lot of really great things in my life, even if the whole day kind of goes shitty. And so it starts my day off in a positive mindset. So now at about 6 in the morning is the first time I touch my phone, and I've already done a good solid hour of work on me. And by doing that every day, you're creating a higher level version of yourself. And in turn, you're turning that higher level version of yourself into the vision that you have for your career. So I hope this was valuable. I hope you got something out of it. If you did, I would love to know what it was. Make sure you follow me on social media. Send me a message. Tell me what it was you took away from the show. And then make sure, as always, my one ask of you guys is that if you got value from the show today, share it with a friend, share it with a teammate, share it with someone who is going to need to hear this message. So thank you. I appreciate you. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and we'll talk again soon.